Every morning, the town moved in rhythm. You could hear the grinding of old engines, the clang of metal pots in the market, and the call of the motor riders looking for passengers. Among them was Ngong, loud, witty, impossibly talkative. His yellow motorbike had scratches like war medals, but he treated it like a throne. He bragged that he knew every shortcut from the marketplace to the mountaintops, and that if you rode with him once, you'd never walk again. And then there was Tony, the local school teacher. Calm, steady, with eyes that carried both wisdom and worry. His school sat on the edge of the hill, painted half blue, half rust. That morning, the chalkboard carried a single message. Knowledge is freedom. He said it often, like a prayer. He told his class, children, the world changes faster than the wind. But if you can read, you'll never be lost. They laughed, some repeating after him in their best English accents, others doodling on the benches made from uneven planks. Outside, the market buzzed. Women balanced trays of groundnuts on their heads, shouting prices at passing soldiers who didn't stop to buy. Vendors argued in pidgin, traders haggled over tomatoes, and radios played old Makossa tunes that held the town together like invisible threads. That evening, as the sun began to set behind the western hills, the women put out their fires, and the children gathered around Mommy Grace's compound. Mommy Grace was old, too old for her back to remain straight, yet too wise for her words to be ignored. Her compound smelled of palm wine, smoke, and honey. Children sat in a circle around her, their faces glowing in the firelight. "Let me tell one story," she began, her voice deep and calm. "They say once, long ago, this land had one tongue, one heart. But pride grew, and brothers stopped hearing each other. Words turned to walls. And from that day, the wind never sounded the same. Everyone listened. Even the crickets went silent." Sarah, who had just come to town to document how people kept hope alive in forgotten places, recorded every moment. She was fascinated by how quiet truth could sound when spoken by an elder. That night, as darkness folded the town, you could still hear music drifting from a nearby bar. Ngong was there, teasing a group of his friends. He raised his cup of palm wine. "Dem say government go fix road this year," he laughed. The others roared with laughter, nearly spilling their drinks. "Before them fix road, make them fix our life first," another shouted back. Laughter filled the room, but beneath it, an unease lingered. Outside the bar, two strangers were arguing in low tones. One wore a military uniform, the other plain clothes. Their whispers carried words that sounded dangerous: rebels, orders, protests. By the time Sarah walked past them, camera in hand, their eyes followed her. Too long. Too silent. She quickened her pace toward her guest house. The next day, Tony sat late in his classroom after the children had gone. He looked at their scribbled writings and smiled sadly. Tomorrow's Cameroon, handwriting of hope. He had dreams, this teacher. Dreams of a brighter school, of children who would grow to change their community. But something troubled him. The air had changed. The birds sounded restless, even the evening breeze seemed to carry whispers. He looked out toward the hills, a light shimmered faintly in the distance, like burning wood. Thinking it was a farmer's fire, he packed his books and walked home. But as he passed through town, he noticed soldiers moving quietly, setting up checkpoints. No one spoke of it, but everyone noticed. "Mr. Tony," one soldier said coolly as he passed. "Make sure you tell your pupils to stay home tomorrow." The words felt heavy, not a warning, but a prophecy. That evening, Mommy Grace gathered the children again. Her story was different this time, slower, darker. She spoke about how, when a goat strays too near the farm, it might forget how to find its pen. But before she could finish, a sound cracked through the night, loud, sharp, unnatural. A boom echoed from beyond the hill. The ground trembled. Children screamed. Mothers grabbed them and ran. What was that? Ngong shouted, stepping out from the bar, eyes wide. People pointed toward the horizon, the night sky glowed orange. Thick black smoke rose into the clouds. The whole town froze. Tony ran out of his house, heart pounding. He saw the reflection of fire on his students' windows. The school, his school, was burning. The townsfolk gathered on the main road, confusion everywhere. Some cried, some shouted orders, others ran in random directions. Shadows of soldiers flickered in the flames. Some held guns. Others shouted names. Sarah, shaking, lifted her camera to record what she saw, her hands trembling. Through her lens, she caught the image of books burning, desks collapsing, and a blackboard melting into half-formed words, "Knowledge is freedom." As she zoomed in, a bullet whistled past. People screamed. Someone shouted her name, Sarah. Go. She dropped behind a wall, heart racing. The ground quaked again. From behind the smoke, voices chanted angrily. The war, the one everyone pretended would never come, had arrived quietly, like a thief. Several hours later, the fire died down, leaving only charred ruins and a smell that lingered longer than memory. The elders lamented, the children wept. Tony sat by what was once his school, unable to speak. Ngong walked by, his once joking face now grave. He put a hand on Tony's shoulder. "This no be thunder, my brother," he said softly. "This not the beginning." Sarah's camera lay broken, but the memory card survived. She hid it inside her jacket, whispering, "They have to see this, the world has to see." As dawn began to creep through the smoke, no roosters crowed. The usual songs of Ndemasa were gone. Only silence remained, heavy, like morning. Mommy Grace stood in the middle of the blackened compound, ashes swirling around her. She looked up at the rising sun and whispered, "When fire comes, it does not ask who built the house." Her eyes met Sarah's. And in that silence, they both understood this was only the beginning.
When the fire started, no one knew it would burn this long.